Well, welcome to Rob's Fix-It Shop. I've got something kind of interesting here. It's an old toy steam engine, and it's electrically powered, 450 watts, and so I suspect there's a bit of an efficiency problem with it, but yeah, so I thought I'd take a look at it, see if I can get it up and running, and it might be kind of fun. So if you're interested, hang around and we'll see if we can get it to go. All right, let's take a look at this. So here you can see the Jensen manufacturing, right? Model 35, and you can see there it's got it looks like a little chamber to store your asbestos in. Sight glass, which is very cool, right? And then here you can see it looks like the only valving is this tank, is the cylinder kind of moving up and down, and there must be an exhaust port and an intake port in here. But so that's kind of cool. And some stuff, I mean, it's a little bit loose. It's got some corrosion, but the paint, it's been repainted. That's really ugly. And so first let's take a look at the electrical. See, I mean, we could probably bring it up, get it up and running pretty quickly if the electrical's working on it. So let's take a look. So it must just be a heater in there, right? Because if you look down here, I don't know if you can see down there very well, but there isn't really much up there. It's just kind of like an asbestos pad that's kind of wrapped around. And I remember the one, so I remember when I was a kid, the neighbor brought one over and it was leaking. And my dad, you know, he could solder, so the neighbor asked him to fix it, so he soldered it. And I was always just amazed by that thing, right? And because then my dad had the, you know, propane torch. He just warmed it up underneath and got it going. So, but yeah, that paint is ugly. But yeah, let's look at this electrical. I think the first thing we want to do is take a look at, just see if we've got anything across the cord. Okay, so let's see here. Put our ohmmeter on. Yeah, we've got a little bit, but not much, right? 33 megohms. Yeah, so this would not work if we plugged it in. So we're going to have to kind of see if we can get this apart and see what's going on in there. Yeah, I'll have to be a little careful with the asbestos. But yeah, so let's just take these screws out and flip it over and see what we've got. Okay, so it looks like our chimney actually, okay, so we're gonna, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Get rid of this. And yeah, there's our board. Okay, then we got a tin plate. Oh, that's riveted in. Okay, so we're gonna have to pull these rivets here. Okay, that was a little more dramatic than I needed it to be. Wow. So that's kind of interesting. It's it's actually under this tin thing. Okay. So I guess we got to pull these straps off. Yeah, that could have gone better. All right, there's our tank. That looks pretty good, right? Now let's see what we've got in here. Oh, I see. Screw here. Screw here. All right, got that off. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Boy, I remember these things from being a kid. So we actually have are good here. It's 33 ohms, so it's almost like something in the cord. Yeah. So this end of the cord's good. Must be something going on right at the end here. Yeah, so this is a heating element. It's still good, right? But kind of scares me kind of a lot too. So that's a pressure relief valve. Looks like the gasket there is a little mucked up. Needs to be cleaned, but it does move around. And yeah, so I'm going to put some water in here. Okay, put some water in. And I'll put that back in there. Put this, and just kind of oil stuff a little bit. I'm going to take it apart and clean it all up, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to just see if we can get it get it going. Might be too much. Let me try this. Okay, this should do the trick. Maybe? Let's see. Well, we're starting to see something. What was that? Well, there it goes. Come on. Come on. No. Well, it could work. So I'm going to take it all apart, and I want to clean it all up. And so let's see here. Let's see what. Yeah, all the parts look pretty good on it. Sight glass out, which is, the sight glass is very cool. Okay, some little gaskets there. And those are all crusty. I don't know, I'm going to leave that. I don't know if it's going to leak or not. I don't know what they sealed that with. I don't know, I'm going to put everything in the ultrasonic cleaner, so we'll see how everything comes out. And that gasket at the bottom is pretty bad. Yep. Huh. Yeah, so there's the... All right, I did get this off. I did have to kind of, it looks like it's just pressed on there, which is a little weird. Yeah, there's our piston. We'll have to figure out a way to kind of clean that out inside there, because it goes down. Well, that's pretty good. Seemed pretty tight before, but yeah, I'm going to put them all in the ultrasonic cleaner now. And we'll just let that cook for a while. Okay, so let's make a game plan here. So here's what I've got. I've got it all apart. I tried to clean it up a little bit. And here, let me grab the parts out of the washer. And so here's the parts out of the washer. So here's the game plan. When it comes to reassembling this guy here, all the kind of washers were, or the gaskets were kind of messed up. So I got myself some gasket material. It's pretty inexpensive, Felpro, which I like to use for gaskets when I'm doing automotive work. But it's kind of a rubber. It's a little bit thicker than I would have liked, but we need to figure out how to cut that, and so that we can put gaskets here and here and here and here. But I don't think that'll be too hard. So we got to get those gaskets going. The parts cleaned up really well. The only problem is that there's a little bit of a bend in this shaft right here. It's really tiny, but it does cause it kind of catch a little bit in there. Got to figure out how to fix that. Then when it comes to providing heat for this guy, I think it would be too much farting around to convert it over to something that used like sterno or something like that to heat it. And the heating element is good, right? Or it looks good. It's got a good ohms reading through it. And so that the cord, I cut this off, and this was the problems between here and here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the cord off right here. And I bought some heat fuses, and I think these heat fuses are for like 260 degrees, 125 degrees centigrade, and 15 amps. So I'm going to put a heat fuse down here, right? And so that's going to act as protection. I'm going to put a 3-prong cord on so that then I can ground this case, so that if this were to ever, because it's really dangerous having all this water and ungrounded, and so we'll take care of that. We'll do the wiring on there, and then this is so weird. This is the piece that went right here, right? And it has this tube, and this tube, I don't know how well you can see that, but the tube is riveted, but it just looks like, I don't know, it looks like homemade almost, but I don't know. It did, and it just kind of fell off here like it hadn't been soldered well. It looks like aluminum, so I don't know. But this paint here is original. This paint has been added on. All this paint has got to go, right? Because it's ugly. It drives me nuts. It's drippy and sloppy. But yeah, so I don't know about this guy. But the weird thing is that this tube here had this bolt, this giant bolt that went up through here, and then connected to this chimney thing, right? Okay, it took me quite a bit. This was just glopped with paint, right? But I think it's supposed to go like this. Or no, I don't know. Or maybe like this. So I think it's actually a chimney for a one that used fuel, right? And you can open it like this to control the rate of the fuel burn. But how it fits on here is just weird, right? You can put it like this, and it's kind of strange. I don't know. I guess you could put it like that, or like this, but then it's like way too big. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But I'll put it together the way I found it, and the bolt just kind of goes up through here. What a ridiculous, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it like that. Right? It's just very strange. So we've got some big jobs. So I think what we'll do first, and we have to, I'm going to refinish this too. I can take this plate off. We'll lose the Underwriter's Limited is a piece of paper. Maybe I can get that off. Maybe I can't. I don't know. But I do want to refinish this. And so I think that's what we're up to. I think first what we'll do is we'll get this paint off, right? And then we can take, it'll take a couple days to do all the finishing on that. And then I'll start to get that tank together. And then once we get all the parts, the tank together, the parts here, then we can start doing the wiring. I don't think the wiring will be that hard. I got some porcelain nuts to kind of help with that work so that we don't have to worry much about that. So, all right, well, let's do it. Okay, so off camera, I took these two sides, this side right here, and this side right here, and I had the thing I use for sharpening chisels. That's just very fine sandpaper on a piece of glass, and I just kind of flatten that and flatten this, and now they really fit together pretty good. Where before they were kind of corroded up in the corner here, but I got them pretty good. I didn't want to remove too much stuff, but yeah, yeah, that's looking good. And I got my washer in there, washer in here. I went out and I just drilled, I put a piece of wood on the top here and on the bottom and just drilled straight through so I wasn't getting as much kind of stuff in the middle here. So yeah, so we're making some progress. All right, so now we've got this thing that goes on here, and there was some calcification inside there, and so I soaked this guy in some vinegar, and that got rid of all that stuff. But I'm not sure what to do here about gaskets. I guess I can put gaskets on the back, but then this goes like this, and these go like this, right? So you don't really have that much room for a thick gasket. And so I think I might just dab some silicone in here on the top, put a gasket on the back because you've got that kind of big surface there, and then just put some silicone up here and try to seal all of that together. And I think that'll probably work. So let me get going on the gaskets for the bottom. So this this gets a little bit tight right here, and I think it's because this is tilted a little bit over like that, starting about here. Boy, I tried to measure it using a straight edge, but I couldn't quite I can't really like visualize it, right? But I can kind of see it, so I'm going to try to see if I can give that a little nudge back in the right direction. Yeah, that didn't really take much of a touch to get it back right, but it looks like it feels nice and nice on there now. So this piece just presses into here, which is weird to me, but whatever. So let's see if we can press that in. I'm going to put a little grease on it. Okay. So we'll just take this 1/4" drive socket, see if we can set it in there. Looks good. All right, well, let's test it, see how it works. I'm going to do it smarter this time, though. All right, so this time I'm going to be a little smarter. I got my compressor set to about, regulator set to about 10 pounds of pressure. Just see if we can. Wow, that works pretty good. Better than I thought. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. It does seem like there's some gas leaking out of this screw hole here. And we got some whatever sealing these guys in here. I didn't even check that, right? But that's leaking, so I'm going to have to take that all apart. Yeah, there's a lot of gas leaking out of here. Maybe I can just tighten it. I don't know. I'm surprised that's leaking so much there. Yeah, so I'm going to have to redo that. That should not be leaking that much. Okay, so we got some work. So it's leaking right there. right there. And that too. So we'll have to get that apart. That makes me really nervous. I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but that can't be leaking. All right, well, let me take it apart, and I think we just need to remake that top gasket. Well, it looks like this. I tried to file these so they were kind of level or whatever, but it looks like this is kind of down here, and I think that's why it's leaking. And I can't really get underneath it to kind of poke it up a little bit, but I might be able to add a little solder around here and then flatten out the solder. So I'm going to try that. All right, that did the trick. All right, so I flattened that out pretty well. I guess. I mean, it doesn't have to be great, right? Because that gasket's pretty thick. All right, so these guys were leaking. Well, this bottom one was. I don't know about the top one. And let's see, how did that go? Yeah, I was leaking through here. So I don't know what really seals that. So I'm going to have to take this out and take a look. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Well, here's the, I had to put a piece of tape on it. I didn't want to break it. But I did get the tube out. So here's our knuckle all cleaned out, right? And we got our glass, and really took quite a bit to get that out of there, because I think what they used is some kind of a rubber sleeve that went around here. Then they tightened it down, but it had long since corroded. And so we need to figure out something we can get in there, like an O-ring, right? And I looked at all my O-rings. I got this big box full of O-rings here. And there's some that fit the inside diameter, like these here. Or fit the tube, right? But then once they're on the tube, they don't fit in here, right? Not even close. And so what I figured out, I could take one of these O-rings, put it on some kind of a shaft. Here I've got a drill bit. Right, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the outside of the O-ring, because it's really being used as more of a compression fitting, right? And then that kind of flattens out the outside. And then I can put this on here. Put this on here. And fit it into there. Right? And then that should compress down at the bottom. And it actually fits quite nicely. So I think that's going to work pretty great. So I'm going to do the other side. And all right, well, I've got this all sealed up. I got this all sealed up. Give it a try. So it's still leaking through here and here, right? I haven't really tightened those down too much. But this looks good. Okay, I've got my paint stripper here with my brush. And I kind of put it on here already. And the paint's coming up, which is great. And so, yeah, we'll just let that sit for a little while. And then clean it off. And I'll probably have to do it twice. But, yeah, it's coming off great. Well, finally, I've got this all back from... so I stripped off the paint on here. And I put a couple of coats of varnish on it. And then this I thought turned out really nice. It should. It took me a long time. I used to paint cars when I was in college, and so I'm just like super picky about stuff. And so I just used a mini, sprayer to spray it, but it took me quite a few times. Anyways, it looks pretty nice, so I thought. And this stuff's all painted. So yeah, so this part's looking pretty good. I think it's looking really nice. And so the next step then is to figure out the electrical on this heater pad. So as we can see, it's a heater in here, and I checked it before, and it does have continuity through here. So I think this heating element is good, but the end of the cord was bad. So I'm going to cut this cord off about here. And then I got some heat fuses here. I think, what are they? They're 15 amps, 250 volts, 125 degrees C. That should be plenty, because I don't want this thing to burn up, right? And so I want to put a grounded cord on it. I want to put the heat fuse in there. And so I don't think that'll be too hard. I just got to cut it here and figure out how to get that all done. Cut this off. Yeah, let's see what we got. Okay, well, that's... So this is actually what the coating is around the wire. There's no insulation on the wire itself, I don't think. Maybe it's some kind of a cloth rubber. All right, so I got myself some high temperature wire, and you can't buy a reasonable amount for some reason. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, you see here, these look like they're just folded over these wires. They don't seem that tight, right? And so I might just try to unfold them. I could possibly try to use a little silver solder or something, but I don't know. Okay. Let me see if I can get something to unfold that. Yeah, that came out pretty good. I just got to figure out how to clean that in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Feels tight enough. Okay, so now I have to get heating element in there. And that was held in by screws. I think these here. All right, so I think I will use a long bolt here and put my ground underneath that. Okay, then I've got my heat fuse. I'm just going to put that like that. All right. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so I got all the wiring done. Can tell that it's good because I can put the ohm meter across the two terminals. You have the 30 ohms, and then I can go to the ground. 0, 0, and then at the ground, all this is grounded, right? But I realized that I put this on backwards, and I don't know how, but I got to take it completely apart. Got to flip this around, and yeah, so I'm not going to film that. All right, well, it's ready to give it a try. I haven't attached the decal yet. I'm a little nervous about this. Well, I plugged it in and it didn't blow a fuse. Here, I'm going to plug it into here. I'll be able to see how much current it's taking. Yep, 4,400 watts, like it said. Yeah, it's getting warm. The case isn't that warm. Water's up to about 125. There we can see the water level in there. That thing turned out pretty nice, I thought. Now it's warming up quite a bit. Actually, it feels pretty warm. I'm going to switch over to the other microphone so you can kind of hear it. Wow, that thing's wailing. It does seem like I got a little bit of steam kind of come out the bottom there, but I don't know what to really do there. Yeah, so it seems to be at that 400, at that 4,400 watts. It does seem to It's not, the pressure relief valve's not going off? Well, that's pretty cool. Well, that's it for Rob's Fix-It Shop. I had fun fixing up this old steam engine. Kind of a dangerous toy in its day, but hopefully made it a little bit safer. But it was fun to fix up, get running again, and get a decent paint job on it. And so if you liked it, please hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.